Well, hello everyone. This is your coach, Dr. Jessie Bowen, and I'm here with your other coach. You guys are fortunate. You've got two coaches that want to share the world with you. I'm here
Yeah.
with Coach Nathan Ray. And
Hey.
call ourselves coaches because we are certified and licensed coaches for success, goal setting, management, whatever you're looking for, we have an idea and a plan. And today, our show is going to be about wealth management and the mindset. This is the power to live your vision. So if you're not living your vision financially, that has an impact on everything else. So we really want to talk about that, the power to live your vision. A lot of times people think of money as something bad. Well, here they're talking about money again. Well, money is up there with air, you know. So, yeah, we're talking
It
about it. It's
is.
up there with air.
Yes,
And if you
yes.
don't have it or not in a good financial place, then, you're maybe in a place of struggle. And we don't want to see anyone in a place of struggle. So, again, it's just information. And today we have a special guest. We have Kevin
Yeah.
Wilson. Now, he is the money man. He can tell you how to make it and then how to save it. See, I can make a lot of money, but it's how much do I keep? So that's another trick. So it's not
Yeah.
about how much money I'm making, it's how much am I keeping. So if I'm making $1 million a year and I'm spending 1,000,001, that's a problem. So
Yeah.
it's having a good balance. So, Coach, tell me, how are you
Yes, sir.
doing?
Hey, I'm happy, radiant, free, shining bright like three diamonds over here. Excited about today's show. Definitely want to thank Elite Publications for being the ones that sponsor our podcast. And just to remind everyone, a couple of quick reminders. Roku, you can find us on Roku, Spotify. Where else, Hanshi? Well,
Yeah, well, the easy button is just Google the power to
okay.
live your vision. They can go to our
There you go.
website. We have a new website up and we have a new book coming out. And that book is
Yeah.
called The Power to Live Your Vision. And a lot of the
Yeah.
programming is taken off our show here and been put into a book format. Our sponsor, Elite Publications, which I'm the president of, we're always trying to help people. If you're doing something, why not turn it into a book? Why not turn it
That's right.
into a value? I think I was looking at
Yeah.
Amazon KDP last night, and I think in May of this year, they paid out something like $82 million to authors. Why not get a part of it? Write a book. I get a check every month. So, why not write a book? You got to, that is, I call it a great blessing of being able to do that. So we're going to bring Kevin on and everyone. So remember, we're talking about, your wealth. We're talking about money. And I'm going to see now add him into our program.
Yeah. That's a great topic.
Hey, sir, how
Hey,
you
there he
Guys,
doing?
is.
doing fantastic. How you guys?
Welcome, welcome.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we did a program together. You did a program last August for the Who's Who in the Martial Arts event in Las Vegas. That was
Yeah.
a great event. Then we turned around and we put that event back into our online program. And it got a lot of traction of people, wanting to know more about it. I know that you've got a
Yeah.
book out and several things you're actually doing. So, Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, well, I like your statement that money's right up there with air. It really is true. It's
That's good. That's true.
I couldn't agree more. But it is that relationship with money. That's what I really try to do. People have a better relationship with money. I didn't always have one, and like a lot of people that learn things, they learn things the hard way. I learned things the hard way, but am very passionate now about teaching financial education to other people and really understanding that money is a tool to help drive success and things that are really important in their lives. And if you treat your money that way, then you're having a good day. If you're just trying to get money for the sake of having money with no plan, no passion, no purpose, you're wasting your time. So that's what I try to do.
Well, that's awesome because you touched on I was looking at my notes here And that was like, I starred that one. When you spoke just now about why financial education is more important than ever, you know,
Yeah.
so my question is, okay, when you say financial education, what is that? And where does that where would you direct someone to start, kind of focusing in on to get that
Yeah,
education?
it's a great question. So it's kind of a funny story because for me, my financial education really came when I went into business for myself. I started this medical staffing company with some surgical professionals, and I had a business degree, so I had taken my macroeconomics, microeconomics, business econ, stats, accounting, managerial accounting, all that stuff, and I put it to work in our company, and it was great. And after a couple of years, the business doing well, everybody was doing good, we were growing. I looked and I was broke, and it just really floored me. I said, "Well, wait a minute." I read one book called The Millionaire Next Door, and it talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
calculating your net worth and all this. And I read it and I thought, wait a minute, I have a negative net worth. My company's doing good. I'm 30 years old. Why am I broke? And it really made me angry. I mean, it really made
Wow.
me angry. So I realized I did not have personal finance education, even with a business degree. It was just completely left out of our entire educational system, which is ironic to me because let's face it, just you just said, money's right up there with air. We all go out and have to earn money, learn how to use money. Why are we not taught anything about it whatsoever? So for me, I mean, I read about every book you can think of on finance. I just knew for me, I'm making a change. I told my wife, we have a negative net worth in 10 years. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be what I read about in that first book, The Millionaire Next Door. I want to have a net worth of $1 million or more. And we sat down, we worked a plan, we did it. And by 40, we
Wow.
hit it. By 50, we were multimillionaires, and we keep growing in a favorable direction. And that's really what I did is after that 10-year period, I backed up and kind of figured out, well, what did we do to accomplish that? And that's just what I love sharing with people, because I just believe if I did it, I really believe anybody can do it. Like I'm not that special. I mean, I wish I was, but I'm not. I just worked the plan. So yes, find there's books out there. I even wrote one. Bowen mentioned. I thought I'd just show it. I just published my personal finance course. It's called Wealth
Oh,
101.
nice.
It's it's really just designed to help people. And to be fair, there's about 20% about money in this book. The other 80% is about you and your mindset and your goal setting and all the things that you need to do to be successful with it. Because let's face it, Bowen, you said it. You can make $1 million, but you spend $1 million in one, then you got a problem. So we need
Right.
how to keep that money. So that's what I love doing. That's sort of how my mission started with that. And what I've tried to do is just take all the stuff I've read, all the things I've done, all the things I've studied, and just try to make it in a clear, concise, manageable program so people can have success with money in their lives.
That's outstanding. Well, I love it because you took action. What I heard you say, because a lot of us have read some of the books you mentioned, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. You read the book, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's awesome. But if and I've done the same thing. It's great. You consume it. You're excited on the front end, but if you
Right.
don't really like get down to the action part, which
Yeah.
is based in mindset, right? You got to have the mindset to take the action. Nothing changes.
You're absolutely right. In fact, even in my course, I have like lesson plans. And then after every lesson plans are exactly what you said, I have action plans. Like, it's great to read
Nice.
this, fantastic. But now here's the action plan. After you've learned this, now you got to implement this, do this. And they are literally called action plans, because you're right. Without taking action on it. But my good friend, Dr. Ruben West, he said that some people believe in self-development. Other people believe in shelf development. You get the book and put it up on the shelf.
And that is the
That's
key.
all great. Yeah, that's all
And
great.
that's
But
I like that.
without the action, you're not going to get
Yeah,
anything done. Yeah.
and that is
yeah,
the
for
key,
sure.
because when you are when we're thinking about achievement, it all starts in our head. And just like you said, Kevin, and everyone, you have to realize where you are, and you have to become sick and tired of being where you are. That's where it really starts.
Absolutely.
Now, your innovation of what it is you do, now that's something else. But the first step is that you have to now form in your mind what wealth means to you, what money means to you, because you can have a disassociation with money and finances, and it doesn't matter how much you can win the lottery, come back 5 years later and you're still broke because you did not.
Watch it. 70% of what lottery winners are exactly what you just said. They've done the stats on it. Yeah, they circumvented the process. They won the money, but you didn't know what to do with it. So yeah, they're in worse financial shape 5 years later than they were before they won the lottery. So
wow,
your thing is very true. It's very true.
So I got money, but nobody came back to you. You said, you got a degree, but they didn't really tell you about the money part. Exactly. They didn't. It's like my doctor. I'm writing this book on about knee replacement. My doctor, they brought me in, and they didn't tell me a lot. They just brought me in and just started whacking on me. and then I found out that, okay, there's more than this than just that. So again, but you got to educate yourself, and sometimes you got to fall to the bottom, and then educate yourself back up. And that's the reason why, and a part of it is that you have to have this part first, because someone can read your book or one of my books, and it still doesn't matter unless we get on the inside. That's where that change has to be. It cannot be an external part of change. So, I may clean up my desk, but I still didn't change my mindset, and next week is back a mess. So that's the reason why we have to make that connection. What is the internal change? Well, you got to have a vision, because you got to have a vision. What is it that money will do for you? I mean, what is it that you want to achieve? Just like you said, Kevin, you and your wife decided that this is what that's very powerful. You've got a teammate, a helpmate to be able to help you to be able to do that. So visualization, the imagination, and then the effort. Okay, the effort, because I can be picking up sticks and become a millionaire, and it depends on who I'm selling the sticks to. I was telling Nathan, I think it was Nathan, I was telling yesterday, that I've got a pen, and I said, how much will you give me for this pen? And he says, I'll give you $1. Okay, but it's the only pen in the world. How much would you give me? Well, maybe $50. Okay, but it's the only pen in the world, and you need to sign a $50,000 contract. Now, how much will you give me for this pen? You see, we keep escalating the value of what it actually, of what it is. So, if we get the mindset part down, and most people don't want to even deal with that. Mindset means having a vision. Number two, you got to be able to focus on that vision, and you got to believe in that vision. And then there's a thing that kicks in that's called manifesting. You got to be able to manifest what it is that you're actually doing. And that's a big part of what we talk about. The power to live your vision is about the manifesting part.
It's funny you say that. I talk about it even in the book. I talk about what you focus on grows. And we could talk all day on the overlap of stuff about choosing who you're hanging out with, knowing your people, what you focus on grows. But the reality is, it is hard. If you do get that mindset and put the action steps in place, it can't not work. I mean, it's not trying to be funny, but it can't not work. Like when you start to make those real changes, and you're absolutely right. They start here, and then they start in your goal setting and your daily plans. But if you put the plan to work, I mean, we know that as martial artists, if you train a certain way, you're going to advance in your training. It's just not going to not happen. So the reality is, are you willing to make the mindset and then put the work in to realize those goals and those manifestations?
I was reading and I was listening to Price Pritchett. He wrote U Squared, and it was really great work. And he spoke about the idea that that it's getting to that point where you are okay with not doing things perfectly, making a mistake, and actually embracing it to make more mistakes. He gave a couple of really great ideas about that. But I'll start with this one. He said, when you're a child, you make U squared leaps all the time, because you go from crawling to walking to running, then you can ride a bike, and all of those things are ginormous leaps from where you were. So with the process, and embracing mistakes. What do you say on that, Kevin? What are your
Well,
thoughts on that?
I want to say this because you hit on something. I've literally spoken on this before. That I said if we born adult, none of us would walk. Like if we were born adult, too afraid to make those failing moments, we would just accept not walking because we won't want to fall down in front of people. We
Right.
won't
That's
want to
something.
go through the processes to be able to walk. Yeah. So
That's
I
interesting.
agree with you 100%. When we're younger, I mean, the mindset of just being able to fail. I speak all the time about just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where real growth happens. Growth happens in the uncomfortable areas, and it can either paralyze you and make you not do it, or you can use that as a challenge. I know growth is happening right now. This is uncomfortable and I don't like it, but this is where real growth is happening. So part of that mindset is just realizing that and knowing those big leaps you talk about. That's an interesting book. I'll have to write that down and get that. I have not read that one. Yeah. But it's interesting how, yes, we start to work into as adults into a field of comfort, and then we don't like to push those boundaries sometimes. But my whole, we were speaking earlier about my book Difficulty Demon. It is about growth, and it is about getting out there. And if you're not failing at something, shame on you, because then you're not growing in anything. So get out there, get uncomfortable, fail forward, do those things, because that's what life's about. We're supposed to rediscover new things, find out, try this. Oh, it didn't work. All right, well, what do I got to adjust to make it work better?
Right.
So
exactly.
It's just what we should be doing. And the best thing you can do is like reading books like that. That's why I love reading, because a lot of authors on things, they have failed at the thing that they write about now, or they have learned a lot about what they write about now. And I just rather learn from them than try to go figure it all out myself. I love reading
there
from
is
the
a
experts.
smarter way to do it, right? Well, that's fabulous. Wow. I love that example you just gave in terms of, if you were an adult, you probably wouldn't be walking. That gives you a picture. You can see that clearly. And I guess that leads to the other part, which was in that book. He starts off and he's at a lodge or something. He's observing a fly, and this fly is bumping up against the window, trying to get to freedom. And he makes an observation. He says, and he's gonna die on the ledge because he just keeps putting more effort. He thinks putting more effort is gonna do the trick. I'll just put more effort in getting through this window, and it's a failed strategy from the beginning.
Right.
Then he says, now 10 feet away is an open door out to where he wants to go. He could have just flown 10 feet and gotten to where he wanted to go much easier. And, I said, you know what? I usually don't put things on my clothes. I said, I'm going to get me a hat with a fly on it, with a cross through it, the no fly zone, right? The no mentality. That's going to be my thing, man. Because I've done that. I mean, and I've lived that. I'm sure you all have in some level or something. It's like, okay, I'm doing this, man. I'm gonna go hard now. I'm gonna get up at 3 a.m. and do it, and then because they say if you wake up early, you can, you're really getting some, but you're still working a failed strategy.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
You remind me of my favorite quote from Albert Einstein. He said, the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. And that's exactly like that.
Same principle. Yeah.
Yeah. We just have to understand that, I love efficiency in things. And there's an efficiency in money as well. I love efficiency in martial arts. See, some people try to circumvent the process, but there is no circumventing the process. The process is just the process, but you can be more efficient in the process, and you can learn those things. Hey, you know what? I mean, I could get in my car now and I could drive to California. I'm in Kansas. I could do it via New York, but it doesn't make much sense because that's not very efficient. But sometimes we do that in our life. We go over here and we go over here and we go over here just because, and sometimes it's, I learned that fear of failure is a real thing. Some people are afraid of success. I apologize. Fear of success is a real thing. Some people are really afraid that, well, if I put this work, it might work. And then they're held accountable. Oh no, heavens no, I don't want to be accountable for it. So we do all these things, self-sabotage sometimes. But the reality is, if you just look at the efficiency process, understand what's not working, and understand there's a reason it's not working, and figure out how can I get it to work. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's simple. And those are the things we look at. Figure out what is simple.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes sense.
overthinking a lot of time comes from a person because and that's what happens like the fly. You're overthinking the situation that this is the only way out because it's clear. You see it's clear, but you cannot get through the window.
Right.
You're
Right.
too busy working on the window and the door is actually open. And that's what happens. You fatigue and you die because you are now putting so much energy into this one thing that you, from a conscious standpoint, you see it. But from a mental standpoint, you don't see it, because from that mental standpoint, this is why it's important that we use meditation, we use visualization, and we practice being successful. You practice it. You can practice being successful. Really? See yourself as wealthy. See yourself as, having the things you would like to have, or the things that having more wealth would do. Whether you give it away, keep it for yourself, or and we want to, when we say generational wealth, it's not the wealth that we're doing now, but it's the wealth that our grandchildren will actually be able to inherit and be able to spend. And so the key element is, one of the books I wrote is called Change Your Mind, Change Your Life Success Guide. You see, and that's where it all comes to. And the power to live your vision is really about understanding that if I change my life, if I change what I'm doing, which I may, if I'm not getting results with, if I'm getting results, then I keep on doing it and I share it with others, because that's the blessing of having, success results. I write books. I'm always trying to get people to write books. Why? Because I'm succeeding at it, and this is a good direction, and you can accomplish a lot of things and write a book. That's the easiest way for you to take and move forward, is to share something that you're an expert in, then share it with a lot of people. And that's what you have to realize, is that if you are successful, then you are servicing a lot of people. You've got a product, or you're physically servicing, other people. So as we get ready to wrap up here shortly, unbelievable, we just burn up 30 minutes here. But Kevin, I'll give you some time to, anything special that you want to share with us, and that we can empower.
The biggest thing I would say is number one, I just want to thank you for having me on this. I always love speaking on personal finance. Personal finance, some people treat budget like a 4-letter word, and everybody has this negative idea of personal finance. When I go speak on it, one of the best compliments I get is people say, I took this class because I knew I needed it. I really didn't want to do it, though. They said, but you made the information enjoyable, relatable, entertaining, and feel like I could do something. And that's what I want for people when it comes to personal finance. So I always love sharing that medium. So thank you for having me on. And I want to say this, I talk about lots of times creating what we call our pie of importance, things that are important in our life. And if we really look at it, most of our pie of importances are going to be pretty similar. Health is the easiest thing to take for granted until you don't have it. And then that's all you want. Right. I know you just had knee surgery and you got a great recovery, which is fantastic, but imagine it went the other way. That's all you want for it to be better. So we all want health. We want good relationships with our business people, with our spouses, with our children, all these different things. And money is the tool to serve those things. And if we really understand that relationship, then we can sometimes realize maybe a lot of money isn't even necessarily what I need. Maybe just enough money to do this is what I really need. And if I can put some extra in to really fund my more long-term plans, then that's really the relationship that I want people to have with money. Too many people get caught chasing the 10%. They think if they just have 10% more money, they'll finally be happy. And we do it with that. If I had 10% more house, I finally made it. 10% more car, I've made it. The problem is we always want 10% more than what we really have. So our challenge is to understand that, sometimes some of the things we have, somebody else would almost even kill for. We have to learn to appreciate what we have. And if we can learn to appreciate what we have, and then understand that our money will serve the things that are really important to us and know what those things are, then we can really start to make some real positive changes in our relationship with money. And that comes down to just what you said, Dr. Bowen, the mindset that we have with money and the ability to have a better relationship with it. And it just gives us a lot more options when we figure that out. And that's what I really want for everybody, is just to have options in life.
Great.
That's great.
That's right.
Well, what form do your programs come? Held up your book, which is a great form. What other ways people have that they can connect with you and work with you?
Yeah. So, well, certainly they can reach out to me at my website. It's kevinwilsonconnection.org. kevinwilsonconnection.org. And I have just recently, I filmed a couple episodes. I haven't put it out yet, but I've been bugged. I finally give in. I have a strange relationship with technology. It never works for me well. So I'm always slow to the technology role. But I do have a podcast that's going to be coming out that is just kind of about growth. And it's just about kind of what we talked about earlier. It won't directly have to do with money, but it's just about growth and how we can grow as individuals. And it's called The Circle, and it'll be coming out soon. So I'll be putting some information out about that. But yeah, I just love when we're able to grow and learn from each other.
That's awesome.
All right, great. Well, I think that today's podcast was great. Doesn't matter where you are, as we said before, is you're always trying to do a better job, service, be able to understand what wealth means to you. If you're in a relationship, it's not just you, but to your partner, to your wife. What is that? What is that partnership like? Are you both thinking the same thing? Because if you're not, one can be pushing, the other one can be pulling. So you want to really, really think about and meditate on meditate on it. If you don't know what you want, then go out and explore. What does wealth mean? What does wealth bring to me? If it's a home, then what type of home, what design, what neighborhood. I want to purchase a home and I want to spend $1 million, $2 million. Okay, that's a good start. Now, how are you going to do it? And then you start that process. Then you start that visualization. So that's a really big part. And everyone, you can go to our website, which is thepowertoliveyourvision.com, and check out our new book that's coming out. If you're interested in publishing, let us know. Elite Publication, that's www.elitepublications.org, and we can help you accomplish your goals. And now, if you have questions and you want to submit those questions, remember you can message us. You can message me, Jessie Bowen and Nathan Ray, and let us know what questions you have. We'd love to spend this time to answer the questions, help you to become better. Because every day in every way, we want the world to become a better place. And having knowledge between the difference between right and wrong, good and bad, those are good starting places. So remember, you think about, what is the power to live your vision? What does it mean to you? And I will see everyone next week. Be blessed.